On this episode of Marlee Me, I sit down with the 2024 Dally M medalist, Jahrome Hughes.
A lot to my mum, and I'm glad she's here now. She's such a big support system for myself. She comes to every game and has a few too many wines and ends up, blind by the end of the night. But
Jahrome is pretty quiet, a proud Māori man who grew up in Wellington, Aotearoa. He tells the story of what it was like growing up there with 4 sisters. It's so special to hear how that female influence has shaped the man he has become, and particularly his relationship with his dad. This through line that keeps coming up in every single episode of Marlee Me is the influence, the power, and the special nature of the relationships that these players have with their support network. And I actually encourage Jahrome to go and tell his dad about how much he means to him after this chat. This episode of Marlee Me was recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people. Jahrome Hughes, it's a pleasure to be here and to have this conversation with you. When I first reached out to you about coming on the show, you'd said to me, I usually hate podcasts, but you've come around. You've got your own show now. Why do you hesitate when it comes to, talking in front of a mic like this?
Yeah, I think I just never really been comfortable with it since I was a young kid, and it was kind of hard to say no to your podcast when I do my own one. So it's I don't know how you took it. You're probably like, is this guy serious? But when it's more chilled sort of vibe like this podcast and like our podcasts, I don't mind it, but I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me on.
It makes it sound like you felt backed into a corner to say yes, but hey, we'll take it. Do you think that, having the spotlight on you, like that's part of your job now, obviously you've been through a bit of a journey with it, that's not going anywhere. Why do you feel uncomfortable when the focus is on you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more, I don't know. I've never really been a great talker in front of a camera or people, but to be fair, I'm slowly getting better at it, and I sort of needed to because of the job I'm in. So, although I'm getting better at it, I still don't enjoy it as much, but I'm slowly coming around to it, and I think having a podcast helps, especially with those 2 other larrikin, or 1 larrikin, and then Peps as well.
Fair enough. Well, this conversation is all about who makes you who you are, away from the footy field rather than the highlights from your career, right? I want to talk about where home is, what home means to you, who is there, what does it look like? Tell me, when you think about home, what comes to mind? Yeah,
so got a couple homes actually, to be fair, and but my home's back in Wellington in New Zealand, and that's where I grew up, and that's where a lot of my family still is, or still are, and it's where my dad is. So it's a really such a lovely place where I can go back and just feel at home. It's a hard, there's no real word to put it, but when I just go back there, it feels like home, and it is home. So I really love getting back there whenever I can, and just enjoy my family's company, and especially my dad.
Yeah. Well, tell me what's Wellington like? I've never been, so tell me what it's like to grow up there.
Yeah, so if you don't live there, everyone calls it windy Wellington, because the weather there is quite different. And to be fair, it really reminds me of Melbourne. It's pretty similar. Obviously, Wellington's probably a little bit smaller than Melbourne is, but really similar. And it was such a great place to grow up. There was a lot of things there. We had a beach there. I used to go down there. Dad used to take me down when I was young, and he loved the surfing, so he got me into surfing there down at Lyall Bay Beach. And lots of sports going on, really sporty town. So, I love my sports as well, and Dad was a big driver of that.
And do you have siblings?
Yes, I do. I got 5 sisters actually.
What?
All girls, yes.
Oh
all
my
girls.
goodness.
So I'm the only boy, which was sometimes it was a good thing, because they really spoilt me, I guess. I was sort of looked after, and then sometimes they just want to pick on me just because they're all girls. But really enjoyed it.
Where do you sit in the age order?
I'm in the middle.
Right, okay.
So I got 2 younger sisters, and then I got 3 older sisters. So sort of in the middle.
That's crazy. I can't imagine being outnumbered like that so much. But I guess then that's why your dad was taking you to surf, maybe to escape?
Yeah, it was good actually. Like the sport and the surfing and the activities was good to get away from my sisters. They were pretty sporty when they were young too, but once they got older, they were a bit more, I don't know, a bit more glamorous. I thought they were glamorous anyway.
So how do you think your older sisters would describe you and what you were like as a kid?
Oh, as a kid, they would probably, rip into me, I reckon. They'd say I'm cheeky, naughty, smelly, snotty. I remember them calling me those things when I was young, so I'd reckon if you asked them that today, they'd probably say the same thing.
And then your younger sisters?
I reckon I'd be the opposite to them. I thought I was a pretty good older brother. I grew into a better older brother the older I got. When I was younger, I was a bit of a mischief, probably because my sisters, the way they treated me, so I thought I had to put it down to them as well, to my younger sisters. But once I got older, I feel like I got a bit better at being an older brother, and I'm hoping they would be saying I was a good older brother.
In what way?
I guess being more, it's weird to say, but nicer to them. I feel like I was a bit mean when I was in high school and they were younger, and it was, I don't know, everyone thought it was cool to be mean to people. So I was a little bit, took it out on my younger sisters to start with, but I soon realised that's not the way to go, and I grew up a little bit, and I was a bit better of a bigger brother then. Yeah,
I think we all go through that, right? The hormones make us assholes.
Yeah, 100%.
Were you all living in the same house?
Nah, it was quite different actually. We were sort of all over the place. My older sisters, they all moved separately. I was living with one of my younger sisters for a bit, and one of my younger sisters was elsewhere. So it was quite a different situation with our siblings. We were never really all in the same house together, but I felt like that really brought us closer together, and especially now that we're all older, I feel like the bond we have is so special, and we're closer than ever, probably because of the long distance, I guess, siblings that we were.
You value that time together, right?
Yeah, 100%. 3 of my sisters live here now, which is really good. Probably they're a bit annoying now than they were when they were away, but it's so special to have family around, and especially in a place like Melbourne where a lot of people don't have their families or friends. No one really grew up here. Most of the team have grew up somewhere else and came here, and just having that support base really helps me.
So sorry, your 3 sisters live in Melbourne?
Yeah, 3 of my sisters
so
live
they
here in
moved
Melbourne.
Here because you're here?
Nah, they were already here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they were already here, and when I moved here, my mum moved from the Gold Coast as well, so my mum's here as well. So
wow.
This feels like home, to be fair, having my siblings here and my mum, and they've been great supporters for me in my career and my life. Yeah.
Well, so you mentioned the Gold Coast, because I know that you moved, the first place you moved out of New Zealand is to the Goldie. What was the circumstance there? Who was coming with you?
Yeah, so mum moved over. Mum and dad split up, and mum moved over to the Gold Coast, and I was just finishing intermediate in New Zealand, which is just before starting college, and she wanted me to move over, and she thought it'd be good for me to get out of Wellington. I guess with sporting and stuff, it might have more opportunities, and I was not keen to come at all. I was just finishing school, going into high school with my mates, had all my good friends there, and my dad, who was probably one of my biggest idols, and I didn't want to pack up and leave him. I didn't want to move over to somewhere different where I've never been, and probably that little rivalry that New Zealand and Australia have. I didn't want to move to the place I hated. So, not personally, but just with all the battles, I guess, in the sporting era. Yeah. But yeah, it was probably a conversation I had with my old man, and he really encouraged me to make the trip, and he thought it'd be better for him. Although he was he was pretty gutted as well that I was going, but his only boy. But he wanted me to go, and he knew it'd be better for me, and I guess that move turned out not too bad.
Yeah, worked out. Just kind of set you on the path, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I want to hear more about your dad. Like, I feel like immediately that's so clear that bond is pretty impactful on who you are.
Yep.
Tell me, what is he like?
Yeah, it's hard to, well, not hard, but talking about him because he's probably had such a big impact in my life, but the person he is, he's just so, he just goes about his business. He's not someone that overly pushed me to get into sport or train me real hard. He just wanted me to have fun, and that's all he ever done. And just the way he carries himself is just a hardworking man. He's real comfortable at home, and such a humble guy. He's so nice to everyone, and it's funny what me and my sisters always joke whenever we go back home. We're out and about with him. He just says hello to everyone. Like, we call him the guy who thinks he knows everyone because he's just so genuine and just says hello to everyone. And we're just like, do you even know him? He's like, nah, I don't know who that is. And I was like, why don't you say hello then? But that's just the way he is. I think him being like that's just, it's really, made me want to be a person like him. I know I probably would never be like that just because, I wish to be half the man he is, but just to see the way he goes about things really gives me inspiration.
I feel like the way you're describing him, it's more he was, walking the walk rather than like talking the talk.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. And like even that, he wouldn't he wouldn't go out and do things just to get praise for it. He was just doing it because that was him. And yeah, that's something I really appreciate about him, the way he brought us kids up. And he's just such a homely guy too. Like, I've been trying to get him to move over for so long, but he's just so comfortable where he is, and he's just so happy with his life. So although I'd love for him to be here, ultimately I'd love for him to be happy, and he is.
You said you'd love to be half the man that he is. What are the biggest lessons or those attributes that you want to embody? Yeah,
it's probably just his hard work and just no, he never complains about anything, and he works really hard at what he does and at everything he does, I guess. And I wish I had that hard work, and I guess no complaining, just how humble he is and how genuine he is. And I wish to be like that. Hard work's something that I had to learn, I guess. I was wasn't the hardest working guy coming through the grades and that, but he really gave me that inspiration. And he's just such an idol to myself, I guess.
Do you tell him this?
Nah, never. I think he knows. Well, maybe not, but he'll probably know after this. He probably won't watch this because I don't know what he does at home. He's always working in the backyard or something. But I probably should tell him.
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty special. Yeah. And I think like the things that you're describing, from a complete outsider's perspective, that's certainly how you come across.
Yeah.
As a humble, hardworking kind of guy.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting because in nearly every single one of these conversations I've had on this show, there's this one person in everyone's life who they look up to so much, and we never tell them.
Nah.
And we should. Like, I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just I don't know. It's a good point. You really should tell them. You probably think they know, but without actually telling them, they probably don't understand that.
Is there a fun moment or a favorite moment you think about when you're reflecting on your childhood with your siblings? Like you said that you were all spread apart, but is there a time, like I know when I'm with my sister, we go back to the same stories of being kids. Like I remember when this happened and like we'll just laugh and no one else will know why we're thinking something so funny. Was there a time when you were all together, maybe with your dad or with your mum or whatever, that you look back on?
We have a funny thing where we talk about driving, because especially my dad, he always I guess rates everyone at driving, and there was this one point where I don't know if I should say this, but when I was younger, I think I was like 16 or something. We were all back home on holiday, and I was taking everyone. I was driving. We all went out to lunch, and I remember I sort of like I was parking my car, and I hit another car. No damage, of course, or else I would have left a note. But no damage. But I remember, hit it, reversed out, just went to like a couple parks down, and then parked, and then we just they've never let me live that one up. So
they're all in the car?
They're all in the car, yeah. I think there was 2 sisters missing, or maybe one, but everyone else was in there. And I remember every time we talk about driving, they always bring that. Because I'm probably the best driver now, but back then, obviously I wasn't. And that's one thing that we always, nearly every time we're all together, we always bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to state my case that I'm better now, because I'm sure they've all had I know a couple of them have had some crashes already, but that's one thing that always brings up, and I always end up at the bottom of it, so, which is fair enough.
I mean, that's what siblings are good for. They'll never let you forget those moments.
I'll never forget that one. I blamed my dad's car. He didn't have his sensor beeper wasn't working, so I didn't know how close I was.
That's it. Thinking about like how many women were around you growing up, I mean, you wouldn't have known any different, but do you kind of look now and see how that maybe has influenced you?
It was probably hard for me to see back then, because they were, I guess, the way we were, just a lot of banter in our family and a lot of jokes and that coming up. But once I got older, they did really show a lot of care and love, and I like to think that's sort of helped me get to or be the man I am today. And it wasn't all just rough and all that sort of stuff. It was a lot of care and love as well. And that was with my mum as well. I give a lot of props to my dad, but they had a really good balance where, mum was she's sort of the one that pushed me harder than my dad. My dad was sort of you just go have fun and, everything will be all right. But, mum sort of, pushed me harder where, I had to work hard to get to where I wanted to go. It wasn't because dad was so cruisy and all that sort of stuff, I needed that bit of hard edge as well.
Yeah.
And mum was certainly the one that gave it to me. And, I appreciate my dad, but, I really appreciate my mother as well.
Yeah.
They both done a great job.
So when you got to the Gold Coast, is that sort of the influence that was impacting you for those final years of school and into footy? Yeah,
for sure. She done an awesome job with me. Like every teenager, you go through that, those tough patches, I guess. And mum was bringing me up on her own, and you probably don't think it, but it would be hard being a mum and a son, sort of trying to get through those teenage years and not having a dad around. So, she's. I owe a lot to her, and if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have come over, and I wouldn't be where I am today. So, I owe a lot to her, to my mum, and I'm glad she's here now. She's such a big support system for myself. She comes to every game and has a few too many wines and ends up, blind by the end of the night. But, I love having her here, although, I'll probably get sick of her sometimes, but, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love the support that she shows me.
She's probably earned those wines from you being a little, as a teenager.
Nah, she definitely does. She definitely does. Especially after a good win or something. I love coming into the sheds and seeing how happy and I guess how proud she is. That's probably a big one. She, both my parents, they really let me know how proud they are of myself, and that really makes me happy, because that's probably all I ever wanted to do, is make them too proud. Yeah,
it sounds like you have a really special family support network.
Yeah.
And I wonder then, because, the footy journey for you, from my understanding, it wasn't linear and it didn't come overnight, and it's been a long kind of grind, which I think is the case for so many people who played the game.
Yeah.
Was there any point where you were like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this?
Yeah, definitely. There was definitely a couple times actually. I think that first time when I was playing, I was on the Gold Coast and I played my first game when I was 18. That was pretty special. But looking back at it, I wasn't ready for first grade, or I wasn't mature enough to be in the NRL or even an NRL system, and I quickly found that out, and I thought it came sort of too easy, and I thought everything was going to be like that. I thought I could just go through my career, and I played one game when I was 18. Like, how good's this? I can just keep trugging along the way I am, and I'll get to where I want to be. But soon found out that wasn't the case, and wasn't willing to work hard, wasn't willing to be a professional, and Gold Coast seen that, and ultimately got rid of me, and I sort of had no contract or anything. So going from pretty much straight from high school into a system, 3 years later had nothing. So had to go up to the Blackhawks and play Q Cup, and I just had a back surgery too, which was a bit first back surgery at, I think I was 19 or 20 or something. So I was still young, and having to go back to, I guess, working full time and then training as well was a big eye opener for myself. And it was sort of thinking, do I want to keep doing this for a couple of years and try to get back in the NRL? But like you said, the family support I had really motivated me to keep going and keep pushing through. And not just my family, my partner at the time, who's my wife now, Molly, she was a big inspiration to myself as well. She wanted me to keep going, and obviously she's seen, and my family seen, it was a dream of mine to play NRL, and they kept me going on the right track, and they're a massive reason why I was able to keep going, and they inspired me to keep going, and thankfully it worked out.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to ask about Molly because I think she's probably the one I should be asking the question of that female influence on your life growing up, and that love that you're talking about, how that helped shape you. But I also know, I think in your Dally M speech last year, you spoke about her impact, and the partners of the players, at the top level, I think carry a lot.
Yep.
And that's often not something that people really realise. Yeah. When did she come into your life, and what do you think, you said she's such a support to you, but what is it that is so beneficial? Yeah,
she's been awesome for me, like I said, and we, after high school, we sort of met and sort of went on from there, started dating, and then in 2022 got married. So she's been through pretty much the whole thing. And the people, I guess people don't really see all the tough times that can come with playing professional footy, and the wives and the partners they're right there. Even the families probably don't get that close. Like my sisters and my mum and my dad, they probably haven't seen some of the things that Molly has had to go through, and she's just been a proper rock for myself. Like anything good or bad, she's there. Anything good, she's there to celebrate it, which she deserves to do because she's part of the success that I get. So she needs to celebrate that for herself, and even the hard times, she's always there for someone that I can lean on, or she's always there to pick me up when I'm down. So she's been huge, and I know there's a lot of players out there that have that support base, and I could definitely tell that a lot of boys wouldn't be where they are, or be as happy as they are without their partners or their wives. It was awesome to see. She was Mole was probably the main show of the Dally M's more than myself. She looked beautiful, and just seeing her enjoy that I guess that stage and that night was really, I guess, humbling for myself, and it was she deserves it as well. She really helped me win that award, so I was glad to see her have a great night.
Well, you don't do it for awards, but moments like that, and the joy for her and your family. Yeah, is that something where you go, this is why I do it? Yeah,
100%. That's the main reason, I think. I know even in 2020 when we were lucky enough to win the comp, obviously the family couldn't get there, but because of COVID, but I remember FaceTiming them all straight after the game. It was like how these split screens, there was like 8 screens. So, I just remember that moment and, really, really emotional moment. And that's why I play the game, is to see that sort of stuff. And, I love to see my family happy and proud. I guess that's a big one.
Yeah, it's unreal. To that night at the Dally M's, I actually spoke to Will Warbrick in All-Stars camp earlier this year, and I asked him about that moment where he got up and that haka was performed in honour of what you'd just achieved. He was getting goosebumps talking about it again, and it was such a special thing to watch. But how did that feel to have that recognition from, your teammate in Will, but also other Māori peers in Joe Tapane and the like?
Yeah, that was a real special moment for myself. Usually I think going into that I was, always thinking, don't make too much of this night. You got a game coming up, like a pretty important game. So I didn't want to get too overwhelmed or anything, but probably the 2 times was when when I got the award, when it was so close, and then the biggest one was probably when the boys got up and done the haka for me. And I remember I still remember it now, just watching it, and I just had so much goosebumps and emotions flowing through me, and I really didn't want to cry, but I was really close to crying. And even the feeling that I got from that was something really special. And really grateful for those boys for jumping up and doing that, and especially Brick, because he started it. It could have been. I think I've talked to him a few times. He was pretty nervous about doing it, but that just shows the type of person he is, and the type of teammate he is to be able to do that, and then for the other boys to come up to Ellie and Joey. So that's probably one of the most special moments of my life. Just to, I guess, receive that and receive the award, and then receive that acknowledgement from the boys.
What role has culture played in your upbringing and now your career where you are now? Because you have represented in Māori All-Stars, but you do that every week. You represent your culture as well. Yeah,
to be honest, we weren't a massive Māori family growing up, like we wanted to be, and I think having the concept of the Māori All-Stars has been awesome for myself. And I've always been a proud Māori, but growing up in Australia wasn't, I didn't get all the, I guess, being around it a lot and not being able to learn it as much as I've wanted to. So, the Māori camps have been awesome for me, just, peeling it right back, going back to our culture, and learning a lot about not just myself, culture as well. And I feel, it's made me want to learn more about it, and it's something that I'm so proud to be and so proud of, and hopefully I can learn more and more over the next coming years.
Do you find strength in that growing connection, that kind of coming back to culture that you've been able to do?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking back at home now and seeing a lot of. I think the big one for me is just showing Māori kids that you can get out there and not just be a sports star or professional sports player, but you can really, if you put your mind to it and a bit of hard work, you can get to where you want to be, and that could be anything.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be sports, but it could be anything in life. And hopefully there's a lot of Māori people out there doing such a good job and being an inspiration to the young ones back home. And that's probably something I want to be as well, being able to show those kids, not just in New Zealand. I know there's Māoris all over the world, so just being an inspiration to them to, I guess, know that they can do whatever they want to do.
Absolutely. I think the last thing that I want to ask you about is, we've heard so much about your family and their impact on you, your wife and her impact, and now your culture. But we're sitting right now in your other family, right? The place of your other family, Melbourne Storm, surrounded by photos of people who've made the club what it is. And I can't help but think, you know, you grew up with all these sisters, and I guess you have brothers, right, in your teammates.
Yeah. Melbourne feels like home now, just because I do have such not just a support base for my own family, but the club is my family as well. And I'm so grateful to had landed here, I guess, and you know, it could have almost not happened. When I first got approached, I was not really keen to come here because I don't know why. I was probably more of a you know, I wouldn't get in this side. Like the year that I was coming here was 2017. They arguably had one of the best teams ever then, and you know, I just thought, why would I go there and not play? You know, I was still young, trying to make my way into the NRL, but you know, my manager and family sort of just said, just go learn off the best, you know, with the players that they had here and the coaching staff, obviously Craig and Frank here, like just go learn as much as you can and then go somewhere else and play, because you're probably not going to make that team with, you know, I was a fullback back then and Billy was here and Munn was here, and I was like, no way I'm beating those guys to the fullback job. So yeah, that's what I done. Which I look back now and I'm so happy that I was able, that I did come here, because I wouldn't be where I am today. But just the influence and the culture here, it's you know, people talk about it a lot and say, what's the secret? But it's just genuine care from everyone, not just the players. It's the coaching staff, the commercial staff, and starts from the top, you know, care and hard work. And I'll talk about Craig, how, you know, I could go to him with anything, you know, off field, family stuff or anything, and he's genuinely, you know, there to help, and he genuinely cares about, you know, myself and my family, and that's with everyone, of his players, of his staff, and I feel like all staff are like that as well, and the players are the exact same, and it's driven by those guys at the top.
And it's clearly had, you know, the best impact on you, you know, sticking it out.
Definitely wouldn't be where I am today without a lot of people, but the impact the Storm has had on me, it's been awesome. So you know, really grateful.
What do you want people to remember you as a person? What do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, ideally, it would be exactly how I explained my dad, I think. But I know it's easy saying, you know, be humble, be hardworking, but it's, you know, it's not as easy, or else I guess, you know, everyone would sort of want to be like that. But yeah, the legacy I'd like to leave, just be a good person, I guess. You know, the people that come across me or said hello at the pub or down the street right now, just hope they'd be, you know, remember me as just being a genuine person and a polite person. So yeah, if anything around those lines.
Yeah, I reckon that's pretty achievable. Thank you so much.
No, thanks, Marlee. Thanks for having me. Oh, sweating.
Thank you so much to Jerome Hughes for making the time to sit down for this conversation on Marlee and Me. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you're hitting subscribe wherever you're listening. Give us a 5-star rating and share the show with someone who you think will enjoy it as well.